Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What are you really chasing? Is it the next paycheck? The next car? The next, like on social media? Or is it something deeper? Something that stirs your soul, something that wakes you up at night and whispers, you were made for more. Let me tell you, this life isn't a dress rehearsal. You don't get a second run. This is it, right here, right now. And every second that slips through your fingers is a second you don't get back. So why waste it chasing things that don't matter? You see, people spend their whole lives climbing the ladder of success only to realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. They collect degrees but lose their family. They build empires but neglect their health. They earn millions but walk around bankrupt in spirit. You were not born to be average. You were not born to just exist. You were born to live boldly, powerfully, purposefully. Let me tell you something personal. There was a time I chased everything they said would make me happy. I thought if I just got there, I'd be satisfied. But every time I got there moved. And I realized it wasn't about getting more. It was about getting real. Real with myself. Real with my values. Real with my purpose. So I started asking new questions. Not how can I get more, but what truly matters to me. And let me tell you what I found. What matters is loving deeply, serving greatly, and living fully. What matters is the time you spend with people who lift your spirit. What matters is using your gifts to uplift others. What matters is becoming someone your future self will be proud of. So I challenge you today, stop wasting energy on things that drain you. Stop investing in opinions that don't build you. Stop living by someone else's definition of success. Take inventory, cut the noise, get still. Ask yourself what matters to me. And when you get the answer, run after it like your life depends on it. Because it does. You've got greatness in you. But that greatness can only be revealed when you align your life with what matters most. Don't wait. Don't postpone your joy. Don't delay your destiny. Focus on what truly matters and let the rest fall away. Time is the most valuable asset you will ever possess. Not money, not status, not even talent. Time is the one thing you can never get back once it's gone. You can recover from a financial loss, rebuild a broken reputation, and even restart a career, but you can never rewind the clock. And that's what makes time so sacred. We all have 24 hours in a day, but not everyone uses them wisely. Some people waste their time living in the past. Others spend it worrying about a future that hasn't even arrived. Meanwhile, the present, the only thing we truly have, slips away unnoticed. People often say, I'll do it tomorrow, as if tomorrow is guaranteed, but life doesn't promise you another sunrise. You don't have forever to pursue your dream, to say, I love you, to start that business, to heal that relationship, or to make peace with yourself. Time is a gift, but it's also a test. And the way you use your time says everything about what you value. If you spend your time on distractions, guess what? You're prioritizing distractions. If you spend your time complaining, you're investing in negativity. And if you spend your time blaming, you're giving your power away. I remember speaking to a man in his 60s who told me he spent his whole life getting ready to live. He saved, waited, planned, and postponed everything. But when he finally had the money, the time, and the freedom, his health was gone, his energy was gone, his opportunities were gone. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, don't wait like I did. Life doesn't wait for you. That hit me hard because we live like we've got all the time in the world. But the truth is, we don't even know how much time we have left. So many people are busy all the time, but busy doesn't mean productive. It doesn't mean fulfilled. You can be busy doing things that don't bring you closer to your purpose. You can be busy pleasing people who don't even matter in the end. and you can be busy climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. Don't confuse motion with progress. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're going anywhere meaningful. The clock is ticking. Every second you spend out of alignment is a second you can't get back. Think about this. What would change if you treated every day like it was your last? Would you keep putting things off? Would you still spend hours scrolling on your phone or arguing with people who add no value to your life? Or would you finally write that book, start that project, tell your kids how proud you are, or go for that dream you've been afraid to chase? When you understand the fragility of time, you stop wasting it. You start protecting it. You start spending it on what feeds your soul, not what drains your energy. There is urgency in this message, not panic, but purpose. Because when you know your time is limited, you use it with intention. You stop giving your best hours to jobs you hate, relationships that hurt, or habits that keep you stuck. You realize this is your life, your time, and it deserves to be spent doing what matters most. The clock won't pause for your excuses. It won't slow down for your fear. So if you're going to do something meaningful, you've got to do it now. There's a dangerous myth floating around in the world today that success is the ultimate goal. That once you get the house, the car, the title, and the lifestyle, you've made it. But let me tell you something that most people won't. Success without purpose is a hollow victory. It looks good on the outside, but it leaves you aching on the inside. You can have all the material signs of winning, money in the bank, followers on social media, awards on the wall. But if you don't have a sense of meaning, a reason behind the climb, you'll wake up every morning feeling like something's missing. I've seen people with $1 million paychecks and zero joy. I've seen high achievers at the top of their game, respected, admired, even envied, sit in silence and whisper, I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore, because somewhere along the way, they got caught up in the chase. They started measuring their worth by numbers, not by values. And they forgot that true success isn't about how much you have. It's about how aligned you are with your why. Without purpose, the success you gain becomes a burden, not a blessing. We live in a world that celebrates hustle but forgets to question the destination. We're told to climb higher, move faster, get more. But nobody stops to ask, what are you climbing for? If you get to the top of the ladder and there's no purpose waiting for you there, all you'll find is exhaustion and regret. That's why so many people have breakdowns right after breakthroughs, because the spotlight they fought for doesn't warm them. It burns them. It exposes the emptiness they were hoping success would cover. Purpose is what gives success its soul. It's the difference between building a business to make money and building a business to change lives. It's the difference between working a job just to pay the bills and doing work that ignites your spirit. When your life is anchored in purpose, everything shifts. Your energy changes, your focus sharpens. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're no longer playing their game. You're living your mission. That's real success. That's deep fulfillment. Let me tell you something that might shake you. It's possible to be successful by the world's standards and still be dying inside. I've been in rooms with powerful people, CEOs, athletes, celebrities who had everything except peace. And do you know what they said in quiet moments? I wish I had taken the time to figure out what really mattered to me before I got all of this. You see, the world teaches you how to succeed, but it doesn't teach you how to be whole. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And it starts with purpose. So ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Who am I helping? What kind of legacy am I building? Because if your ladder is built on ego, the higher you climb, the harder you'll fall. But if it's built on purpose, on service, passion, contribution, you won't just succeed, you'll matter. And that's a kind of success no dollar sign can match. There's a subtle lie we're fed from the moment we open our eyes in this world. If you just get a little more, you'll be happy. A little more money, a little more status, a little more attention. And we believe it. So we run, we hustle, we sacrifice sleep, health, relationships just to grab that next shiny thing. But let me tell you something more is a moving target. Every time you reach it, it shifts. You buy the car, and 6 months later, someone drives up in a newer one. You get the promotion, and suddenly there's another title to chase. You hit your goal, and instead of feeling full, you feel hungry for the next. And before you know it, you're stuck on a treadmill, running faster, getting tired, but going nowhere meaningful. The pursuit of more keeps you busy, but it never makes you whole. You might impress people. You might look successful on the outside, but deep inside you're running on empty. Why? Because more was never supposed to be the destination. It was a distraction from the real question. What's enough for you? What truly satisfies your spirit? When you chase more without clarity, you become a prisoner of your own ambition. You miss the beauty of now. You ignore the joy in the present. You forget to appreciate what you have because you're hypnotized by what you don't. And no matter how fast you run or how much you collect, you never feel like you've arrived. You've got to wake up and realize this truth. Chasing more without a purpose behind it will always leave you feeling less grounded, less grateful, less alive. That's why so many people with everything still feel like they're missing something. They are. They're missing alignment. They're missing intention. They're missing peace. You don't need to chase everything. You need to focus on the right things, on what matters, on what feeds your soul, not just your image. Because when you stop running after more, you finally make room for meaning. You've got to learn how to tune into what truly fuels your soul, because this world is loud. It will shout 1,000 things at you every single day. What you should want, who you should be, how you should live. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life chasing someone else's dream. You'll follow paths that aren't yours, wearing masks that don't fit, living a life that doesn't belong to you, all because you never stop to ask, what sets my soul on fire? What lights me up from the inside out? See, there's a difference between something that looks good and something that feels right. Your soul knows the difference. You might take a job because it pays well, but if it leaves you numb and drained every day, is the money worth your peace? You might follow a trend because it gets applause, but if it silences your truth, is the attention worth the cost? Your soul is not here to be entertained, it's here to be engaged. And when you live in alignment with what fuels your soul, you don't just feel alive, you become unstoppable. Don't waste your energy trying to impress people who don't even know your heart. Stop chasing approval from crowds that clap for your highlight reel but don't care about your well-being. You weren't born to fit into the world's mold. You were born to break it, reshape it, and create something that's real to you. When you do what feeds your soul, you tap into a power that no one can give you and no one can take away. It's not ego, it's essence. It's not status, it's purpose. And it's what makes your life meaningful. Now, here's the hard truth. Focusing on what fuels your soul might mean disappointing some people. It might mean walking away from safe situations. It might mean letting go of familiar routines, toxic comfort zones, or even people who don't understand your journey. But that's the price of authenticity. That's the cost of alignment. You can either live to be accepted by everyone else, or you can live to be true to yourself, but you can't do both. When you finally start choosing what fuels you, not what flatters you, something incredible happens. You stop needing external motivation because you're internally driven. You wake up with a reason. You show up with energy. You make decisions that reflect your values, not your fears. And every step you take becomes intentional. You start to build a life, not just a living. You start to feel full even before the success arrives because you're no longer starving your soul in the name of survival. So don't just exist, live. And don't just live, live on purpose. Stop asking, what do they expect from me? And start asking, what do I expect from myself? That's the shift. That's where real power is born, not in pleasing the world, but in fueling the fire inside of you that was there long before the world had a say. You've heard it said, climb the ladder of success. But let me ask you, what wall is your ladder leaning against? Because you can work your whole life climbing, hustling, sacrificing, pushing, and still end up in the wrong place. That's one of the greatest tragedies of life, to succeed at something that doesn't truly matter to you. To reach the top, only to look around and realize this isn't where I wanted to be. The problem isn't the climb. The problem is the direction. If your ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, every step takes you further away from your purpose. A lot of people get caught up in climbing without clarity. They chase titles, accolades, money, fame, because that's what they were told success looks like. That's what society celebrates. But here's what they don't tell you. The applause fades. The paycheck becomes routine. The novelty wears off. And when the noise dies down, you're left with a question that echoes through your soul. Did I live true to myself? That question haunts people who built their lives on someone else's blueprint. They followed the map, but it wasn't theirs. Let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with ambition. But ambition without direction is dangerous. It will have you sprinting toward a destination that doesn't fulfill you. You've got to pause. You've got to evaluate. You've got to ask, is this my wall? Is this my mission? Is this my dream, or just what I was taught to want? Sometimes you've got to stop climbing just long enough to look around and realize you're scaling a structure that leads nowhere meaningful. Reaching the top means nothing if the view doesn't satisfy your spirit. Re-evaluating your ladder means being honest about what you're doing and why. It might mean taking a detour. It might mean stepping down for a while to reposition. And yes, that might look like failure to the outside world. But let me remind you, it's better to realign than to live misaligned. There's no shame in shifting. The real shame is staying stuck on a path that's slowly killing your joy. You've got one life. Why spend it climbing towards someone else's definition of success? When you finally position your ladder against the right wall, your wall, everything changes. The work still takes effort, but it fills you instead of draining you. You still hustle, but now it's with heart. You face setbacks, but they don't shake you, because you know you're moving in the right direction. That's the kind of success that brings peace. That's the kind of climb that gives life meaning, because now every step has purpose. Every level you reach is connected to something greater than ego. It's connected to your essence. So before you take another step, before you grind another day, before you sacrifice more of your time and energy, look at your wall. Re-evaluate your ladder. Make sure it's leaning on something that matters to you, something that fuels your purpose, feeds your soul, and builds the kind of legacy your future self will be proud of. Because the top doesn't matter if it takes you away from the truth. You can replace a car. You can buy another phone. You can upgrade your house, your clothes, your devices. But listen to me, you cannot replace the people you love. Once they're gone, they're gone. No amount of money can buy you another mother. No job title can bring back time with your children. No fancy lifestyle will hold your hand when life gets dark. At the end of the day, it's not what's in your bank account that makes you rich. It's who's sitting beside you when you're broke, tired, or scared. That's real wealth. That's what matters. Too many people sacrifice their relationships on the altar of ambition. They say, I'm doing it for my family, while their family barely sees them. They chase promotions, bonuses, and recognition, believing that love can wait, that friendship can wait, that time with their parents, their spouse, their kids can wait. But here's the truth: time waits for no one. Every day you neglect those relationships is a day you don't get back. Every, I'll call them tomorrow, could be a missed last conversation. You don't realize how important people are until they become a memory. I remember hearing a story about a man who spent his whole life building a company. He worked day and night, built an empire, but in doing so, he pushed everyone away. On his deathbed, he had all the money he ever dreamed of and no one left to talk to. He said, I succeeded at everything except what mattered most. Don't let that be your story. Don't be so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Your relationships are the soul of your existence. They shape your memories, your moments, your meaning. You've got to ask yourself, what are you giving your best energy to? If you come home every night with nothing left for the people you love, something's out of balance. If your schedule is full of meetings, but empty of meaningful connection, you're running a race with no finish line. Things won't hold you when you're hurting. Titles won't laugh with you when you're joyful. Only people can do that, and the people who love you don't want your perfection. They want your presence. Possessions are loud. They scream for attention. They sparkle, shine, and make you feel powerful. But relationships are quiet. They're built in small moments: a call, a conversation, a shared silence, a hug, a memory. And those moments, though small, are sacred. One moment of genuine connection can carry you through years of hardship. One honest conversation can change your whole life. But if you're always too busy, too distracted, too focused on getting ahead, you'll miss those moments. And once they're gone, you can't rewind. So yes, go after your goals. Build your dreams. But don't do it at the cost of the people who walk beside you. Don't forget the hands that held you up when you were falling. Don't ignore the hearts that believed in you before the world even knew your name. Because in the end, it's not about what you owned. It's about who you loved and how well you loved them.